many people know that I get really fed up with social media. It's so generic and copied. It bores me to death, to be honest. When I see original content, I truly get inspired and I enjoy it. When I see people just creating content just for attention, it's like, oh, it drives me to madness, in all honesty. Yeah, it's not for me to say who can and can't create content, but I think be original and do something because you have a passion for it, not because you can see an opportunity. And I think that's where I see it. I recognize when people create content because they genuinely have a passion for it, I recognize that. And I can see straight through those who are doing it because they found an avenue where they can try and gain some income out of it. And it's just so boring though. They present it in a certain way and it's very obvious as to why they've created it. Not me being all self righteous, it's just an awareness. So, as a side hobby, this is literally this is my hobby though. I don't even have to share this side of me. I just like to share things though. I share a lot of my physical media that I've been collecting, and I've been doing it on my own, not because I've seen someone else doing it. It's just an innate feeling for myself. When streaming come along, I removed an awful lot of content. I sold DVDs and things, but I always kept my very favorites because I always thought if I ever want to watch them again, they're there, just in case. And then slowly but surely, I started to re-emerge and start to regain and rebuild. Um, so much so that I'm on different media. It's not just one format. And I think that's the thing. It's like some people just go mental just because they've seen a trend. Whereas, like I say, mine's for fun. Mine's my own personal collection. I don't buy nothing, just something just to have an impression. But I like to share it because I want to help people sort of see for themselves that, for instance, the subscription services are just getting insane. And where does it end? At the moment, the music subscriptions are not that expensive. But what if they were to double? Now, all of a sudden, you found yourself in an issue. Um, so, for instance, one of the reasons I have a subscription service is because I like my playlist. Make a massive playlist, maybe 200 songs. And you're thinking, well, I do like them songs on that playlist. But when it comes, this is what I'm saying. I'm talking from personal experience here. I'm not copying anything anybody else does. I'm not hearing this from anybody else. But inevitably, someone might hear what I say and they might copy. It's just people, copy. You're either original or you're a copycat. I prefer to be original. So I can talk from experience as to things that annoy me. Um, like I say, I like playlists because it shuffles quicker. It's easier than other forms of media. But at the same time, if I want an album specifically, I'm thinking of a singer. Then I want a specific album. I find it really cumbersome. It's like really slow to find this content. Um, but maybe I don't know exactly what singer I want, but I know the sort of genre they're in, and it's just hard to narrow it down. So you end up spending ages back and forward in trying to find related singers. Whereas on my shelf, for instance, I'll know rough in the specific areas of my collection where that type of music is. And then straight away I'll find that artist, and then I find that album, and it's like it's quick. It's like straight over there. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that I'm gonna listen to that, and straight away I'm listening to it. It's just for me, it's simpler. And of course, once I own it, I own it. I'm only losing money because I keep adding to the collection, which isn't a bad thing. But there'll be a time when I don't because I'm just enjoying. But anyway, I see people collecting lately, going to the second-hand shops and things, and just keep going. Oh, here's my haul today. Here's my. It's like no one needs to see it. How often you go into the shop, for instance, it's just crazy. It's oversaturated if you do it the way they're doing it. I don't know what in America they call it thrifting. I think I don't even know what the hell that means. Second-hand look seeking. I don't know. I've never heard the term. It's weird to me. It's a strange term to me. Um, but yeah, we have secondhand stores and things. But like I say, I like all different media though, and it's that passion for it. Like for instance, I got my cassette. Now I did a video recently saying what's my favorite type, and I freaking love cassettes. I think for a long time I didn't. A long time I'd thrown discarded them, and then it's only recently I got back into it. I bought myself a tape deck for 50 quid to go with my other. I didn't really need the tape deck. I've already got CD, mini disc, digital, vinyl records. But immediately I just felt nostalgic for tape, and I hadn't seen anybody talking about cassette tapes. I just naturally thought, oh, that's something else. Because I've been collecting VHS. So I've been collecting an awful lot of older, rare VHS tapes, but that's for my own personal collection. This isn't for me to go, oh, look at this film, look at this film. It's just inherently while I was searching and buying these films, I started to realize how rare they were, and I was trying to draw people's attention to it, saying, in fact, if you wanted to get that, you best get it now while you can. That's kind of what my content's about. That's the reason why I was talking about it, because there's going to be a period where you can't get them. And I say that a lot. It's not the price, it's the rarity of it. If you want it, you just won't be able to get it, no matter how much money you have, sort of thing. They're not that thing. I've got rare movies in my collection. And I said, like, it's my favorite. VHS is my favorite format. it drives my daughter mad because, to be honest, the video quality doesn't match sort of DVD and Blu-ray. So like DVD and Blu-ray. But the thing about DVD, for instance, is there's a lot of films available on DVD that aren't necessarily available on Blu-ray, and sometimes they're incredibly cheap. For instance, this cost me £1.50. For me to get for the Bodyguard on Blu-ray is going to cost me £7. I can get a lot of films for that. So it's like I'm I'm finding DVD doesn't look too bad, but ideally I've been buying a lot of Blu-rays. But I'm also buying the films that I truly love, I want nostalgically reasons for, I'm getting on VHS. And I actually will sit there and watch them. So I'm not doing it mindlessly collecting for the sake of it. I actually like to put it in. It's like, for instance, there's a couple of films here, isn't there? I mean, my daughter wanted to watch Home Alone at Christmas. And she said, the DVD, not the video. I'm like, all right, yeah, you can watch it. And then I tried to sneak the video, and I'm like, just the beginning, just where they're in the house, when they get lost. Just let's just watch it after that. You know, if I had the choice, I'd be watching on VHS. That's the difference. Is that I'm buying it because I want them. And then again, like I say, when I'm seeking them, I'm realizing how rare. But there's going to be people that copy trends. You know, they might see that I'm collecting this or something, and they go, "Oh, you know what? Because it's rare, I'm going to start collecting them now." Or something. And they won't watch them. They just collect just till they've got the content. You know. But I think personally, you can see that in it. And I mean, this is only one avenue. You've got so many other content creators that just copy the shit out of everybody else, you know? And it just, because of that, I see it and it bores the shit out of me, to be honest. Man, of people just walking out going, come and check out my haul, my new physical media collection, my new haul. And it's like, oh my God, it's boring as shit. Present it in a way that's interesting. Like, I don't get a lot of likes and a lot of attention on mine, but I like my ones the way I do it. I'm literally just showing it as quick as I can. I don't waste people's time. I see this too much where people do it like this. If they're going to show their collection, for instance, they say, I just got some new films for my collection. And they'll have it that way on purpose. So you have to wait a minute before they finally reveal what they could be. And it's like, I ain't got time for your shit. Don't play games with me. If you really want to show me, you'd show me. If you're doing it to gain money off the creator fund, then you're going to make me wait a minute. That's what that is. So you're not doing it because you're genuinely interested. You know, I think personally you could talk about a specific item and people listen all the way through for a minute anyway. You don't have to sort of manipulate them, you know. But anyway, that's where I get a bit fed up. I recently spoke about my iPod. So I had this listed, whether it was worth it or not, it was to me. So let me unplug it a minute so I can show what I got on camera. A bit easier. So I've got this little device. iPod goes in top. It's also got USB sockets and SD cards and all sorts. Effectively, this screen can actually play video content. Of course, it's a speaker setup. So it's great. So personally, I really only use it for my iPod. So the iPod actually charges, which is beautiful because it's always available. Then every time if I pick it up and want to plug headphones in, it's always going to have a charge because it's been charging on that. But I was recently listed selling it for £200. No one was interested, but I was like, I'm not selling it any cheaper because, not being funny, that's a speaker system that I don't even know if you could buy anymore. I haven't really done the research. And this is it. I'm the only owner of this. It's not been owned by anyone else, so it's in good condition. It's a couple of little scratches for somehow. I don't know how they've happened, but considering its age. But then myself, I was like, to be honest, I enjoy collecting and preserving history, especially media. And I thought, to be honest, I'm probably going to want an iPod again in the future. So although right now it's like a bit obsolete compared to the others, there'll be a time when I want one. So I just took it off eBay and just decided to keep it. I'm not expecting to make a lot of content based on it or anything. I'm not doing it for that. I'm just showing people the collection that I'm doing and how I'm preserving it. So what I'm planning to do, just so people know, I've got a massive load of CDs, and I'm planning to rip the music from the CD to the computer. So they've got MP3s. I've already done it on some before, but I've got a huge collection to go through. Because what I realized was back in the day when I was putting music on my iPod, I think 128 kilobytes per second. That was a popular one. It's quite low bit rate though, so the sound quality is not very good. So for instance, I was listening to Eminem and I'm like, God damn, that's terrible with the bass. It's crackly and everything. But yeah, if I put a modern song like Luke Combs, it was playing fine. So I thought, oh, okay, I'm just gonna have to go back and do it at 320 kilobytes per second, because then it'll be a much more higher quality sound. So it just take up more storage, but it's plenty big enough. But again, that's something I've got to do because I'm genuinely passionate about my collection. Again, it's about preserving it as well. if you ever got a scratch on a disc, for instance, you've got a permanent copy. Now, I spoke about the fact that this is my favourite format of tape, cassette tape. I haven't specifically got my cassette deck set up properly because although it's the similar model to the tape deck, this CD player I've got, there's a connection at the back that it doesn't actually, it doesn't have the same connection. So I think it's from a slightly different model CD player, the attachment. So I'm going to have to either find an adapter or figure out how that works. But effectively, I've got the tape deck going into the stereo and then it outputs to the speakers, but I haven't got the input to the tape deck, which I'm going to mess about with, get a couple more RCA cables. And what I want to do is record, so I'm going to get some blank tapes. I'm going to get some blank tapes and then I'm going to try and record my some vinyl to cassette tape. And I might try CDs, but I think realistically, I think it'd be better to preserve vinyl, because I haven't got a way of preserving that at the moment to the computer. Although my record player does have recording feature, but I'm not sure if I need the rest of the parts. But anyway, this is the level of interest I have in it, though, So I want to preserve. But I also, because I love this, it'd be great to have music I already own and be able to put it on a cassette and then be able to play the cassette. But of course, I think any time you're going from an original source, you're potentially diminishing the quality, aren't you? Because it can never be more, unless you do any sort of digital enhancements, it can never be superior to the original source. So that's the only thing. So I am looking to get cassette tapes, but in terms of buying them, it's not as easy as you think. It's really hard because there's the singles, which you forget that there's a lot of singles available rather than albums. You have to do your research on everything you're looking at. And when you're looking for specific albums, it's not always cheap. Only compare it to other pre-owned content, really. So, for instance, these sort of CD tapes I'm getting at the moment, it cost me about £3 delivered and things, which isn't too bad. But it's not that you're cheap, it's just that when you're used to finding job lots and bundles and other items, you're always in comparing. Sometimes you make sort of an exception to the rule, So it's not about being stringent, but I think market value is really important, isn't it? Because otherwise, if we overpay, it just feels stupid. But again, I spoke about this before. Beetlejuice cost me £15. I don't know when I bought it now, maybe a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember when now. It was recent. But it cost me £15. Last time I looked after was £25. And there's only like 4 available. So it goes up to 60 quid. So the point is, I bought it the cheapest. I think I bought that the cheapest it'll ever be, unless someone sells it who hasn't got a clue what they're holding on to. But after that, they're all going up in price. I have both Gremlins. I've got Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters 2 is expensive. But yeah, some people will just buy these rare items just to keep flaunting them for views, And it's just, I know this is just one niche area, but it's an area that I feel really passionate about. And when I see people exploiting it just for numbers, it bothers me because I'm like, this is boring. I don't want to watch your crap because you're just doing it for the views, And there's certain creators I can see straight away through this. And it actually annoys the shit out of me, to be totally honest. Whereas when someone's truly passionate about it, I like it. For instance, I was watching YouTube videos. Don't know if I can get it up, to be totally honest. Let me just see. So this might be interesting. Maybe it won't. Maybe it is. This is why I watched in the middle of the night, to be honest. I've woke up at a silly time. I went to sleep too earlier than normal. But this is just what I enjoy watching. So this is my interest, So if we're going to obviously go more recent down. Pros and cons of buying 4K Blu-rays. So I needed to get a DVD drive, Blu-ray drive, really, for my laptop. One idea, obviously, the main thing is I want to be able to record my own DVDs, put some video content of my own onto discs. That'd be good because then you put your own music. Whereas when you do it on social media and things, you get copyright strikes and all stuff. When you watch it at home with your own stuff, you can literally be creative. I like that. I want to make playlists for my CDs because I don't want to just listen to just specific albums. I like that, especially in the car. So although I can do it with social media, like the apps and things, I do want it on discs, which I've already got some. So I need to get some blank discs and get a disc drive so I can do it again because I gave my daughter my disc drive. But because I'm into Blu-rays, I want one that can do Blu-rays too. But the problem is it escalates. So for instance, put it into perspective, it's about £30 for a DVD burner. So you can play DVDs, CDs, and obviously burn to both formats. That's great. For about £50, £60, you can get one that plays DVDs but can also burn to DVDs, which is pretty cool. But that can range up to all the way up to about 80 as well, depending on the quality of the brand, we say. But then I found one that's £100, but it can actually play Ultra HD Blu-rays. So I'm like, okay. So the problem is it gets more expensive. But I think long term, once you've paid it, you've paid it. So then it's like, is it worth saving a few quid here and there when in the long run you've got more access to more content and it's better. So, for instance, I'm sort of looking into whether 4K Blu-rays are worth it because I'm seeing some are actually really cheap, which surprises me. But then, of course, brand new ones are ridiculously expensive. So my mind goes towards the fact that yes, it's expensive, but look at the prices people are paying for vinyl right now. For me, it's overpriced. It's ridiculous. I know it's a trend, but I think at the prices they're at the moment, the trend's becoming a bit too. What's the word? Exploited. It's definitely been exploited by artists. The prices are outrageous. It doesn't make sense. I recently bought brand new vinyl for £9.99, so it cost me £10. So it begs the question: how the hell are they going for £35 by other artists? I think £20 fair. I think anything above that, I think is inflated. It's too inflated at 35. You're looking at double what I would consider normal. You know what I mean? So I think there's got to be there's a level there. So with that in mind, if people are prepared to pay £35 for a vinyl record, I think a 4K Blu-ray, for instance, at £25, £20, is it so expensive now? But that's the problem. The prices are inflating on different platforms. So again, I'm just looking into whether it's even worth it because I'm considering the expensive external DVD, the Blu-ray player, because then it gives me Ultra HD. But is it worth it? That's where I'm going because I don't want to sort of keep collecting so many different formats. But if it's superior to the point where it's really worth it, then let's have a go. So I'm looking at videos relating to that, of course. So that's where I've gone with that. So there's a bit of content there, some gaming content here. That's what I've been watching today, really, or the early morning. Some gaming, some towards that. I've been seeing a lot of vinyl. Why have I got this? Oh, music videos were playing on the telly yesterday. Oh, so that messes the whole algorithm up, I guess. But I've been seeing a lot of content about vinyl. So I'm surprised that's not there, to be honest. It must have been on my other profile. Let me see my liked videos. So I've done some where I was watching about maintaining. Might have been on my other account. Well, I'm looking up vinyl, how to repair how to restore vinyl and look after it and things because that's important, isn't it? If you can have vinyl records, we need to know how to look after them. And the more I get into that, the more it gives me a headache. In all honesty, because the records are dear enough as they are. You've got to constantly replace this needle. You've got to maintain it. People talking about protective sleeves, and I get all that, and I know it's preserving it, and I know it's like really appreciating your collection, but it becomes a lot more hard work than it's worth to me personally. I love the basicness of a cassette tape. You don't really have to think too much. I know they eventually can get chewed up if it plays up, which is the case for most things. There's always going to be a negative. Whereas if you don't maintain the needle, it'll scratch it. The sound goes bad. But a CD, the lens can break. You have to get a new CD player or replace the lens. I don't know how you do all that, but it is what it is. You can get CDs can get scratches, which makes them unplayable. They can also get like sunburn. There's things with that where it really gets degraded with light and things. There's all sorts of things. But I find the simplicity of putting a cassette into the tape player. I like that. It's not complicated. It's simple, and I think the sound's great. And I always thought the sound would be inferior. That was the impression I had. But then I listened to it because obviously we listened to CDs for so long and other things. I was like, I was really impressed with this. So when I say it's my favorite, it's my favorite. It's just simple. It's compact. I think it's nostalgic, but it looks quite cute. I think with the size of it all compared now, whereas before maybe we got a bit bored. But there's limitations with anything. I know it can be boring to the wrong audience, but interesting perhaps to the right audience. But I do think going into vinyl, you've really got to go into it with a mindset it's going to cost you an awful lot of money. Even my one now, my record players, I'm noticing it's not a full turntable, so it's warping slightly. I don't really mind. I think some people would say never use one when it does that, but it's like, I think it depends. If you're paying £35 for a vinyl, then yeah, make sure you've got the best record, the platform to play it. But I've been buying mine used off eBay. I pay about £8 for a record. Sometimes it's like £8 for two. I've had some bundles where it's cost me about that for about 4 or 5. And it's like that's great. So the risk isn't so high for me to enjoy it. But if I was spending a fortune on them, you're damn right I'm going to spend £300 on a turntable that supports it. But then, like, without being rude, do I care that much? Do I care that much about the platform to spend sort of vast amounts of money, like £1,000 on hardware and the collection and things? Not really. Not really. I love music just like everybody else, but I do like my movie collection too. And if I think, and that's what I notice with some people, they focus heavily on one format, and that's great if that's their passion. You know, to each their own. For me, I like different things though, and I like to preserve. So you could argue, obviously, at the moment in my collection, best experience is going to be Blu-ray. So I'm buying an awful lot of Blu-rays, especially while they're cheap. And for the most part, that's the main part of the collection, isn't it? Because most things are available, especially modern. But it's not the only way I'm collecting. I'll still buy the odd DVD if I think it's worth it. If I'm struggling to get it on Blu-ray or something, or the Blu-ray price is ridiculous, it's like, oh, I'll just get on DVD. It's fine. It still looks good. Um, but like I say, if I can preserve the VHS tapes, you're damn right I'm getting them. Even if I've got them on Blu-ray or DVD. I literally have Gladiator on DVD, Blu-ray, and VHS. And I'm intending to do something similar with Pirates of the Caribbean, Harry Potter, although I've given the DVD versions to my daughter, but still, same thing stands. Um, Gremlins. I've even got, like I said, I've got the Home Alone on VHS, both independent, both got their own cassette tapes. And then I've got the double disc for the DVD. So yeah, I'm collecting because I enjoy collecting, but I truly love VHS. But I'm just seeing people, like say, going thrifting and all sorts, whatever they want to call it. But it's always for attention. It's like, oh, just got all these now, just throwing these in my collection. But I don't think they watch them, just by the way their mannerisms are. And I think by how often they're adding to their collection in the bulk. Like these are massive piles. It's like more, more, more. It's like, yeah, if you've got to give it time to breathe to enjoy it. Uh, like for me at the moment, I go through periods. I go through periods where I'm just like, scouring eBay. I'm looking on Amazon. I'm looking all over the place. Go CEX, get some. But then there'll be periods where I'm not even in those places because I'm in a different mindset. I'm busy with other things. It's not just collect, 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 collect. Um, so yeah, I'll do it as and when. At the moment, I still want to add some films because there's certain ones on my list that I want to check mark. I've got about 50 VHS tapes I want to collect, but I don't even have the space for them. So in theory, unless something comes up out of nowhere and I'll just see it and I'm like, oh, that's a good deal. I won't be adding any more VHS tapes because I just don't have the space at the moment until I get a new shelf rack, which is what I'm planning to get. But not specifically for that. It's just because my space for my VHS tapes, for instance, there's a lot hidden. I've got a whole row hidden behind it, and there's some tucked away in this other cupboard. And it'd be nice to have them all on the shelf. 'Cause it's almost like a little mini video store. That's the only reason I'm doing that. But again, it's all for personal interest, and I just think there's a lot of people creating regurgitate content, and that's really, in all honesty, it's what bores me about social media and why I want to leave sometimes. Because I don't mind. I can put up with the odd video, but it's just there's so much fake on social media, and I know we're talking physical media here because that's one of my interests. But I see other people just create content after content, and it's just so generic. And it's like, oh, this is so boring. You get couples on there showing acting all like that. You can see they're fake, and they've amassed a lot of followers. And it's like, this is just sad. You're just living your life all the time on camera, like almost like you're live, and that's mental to me. And it's not just that. There's a lot. There's a lot of fakeness on social media. And once I see too much of it, I just think people have just they've exploited themselves. But exploited themselves for money. I couldn't do that. I say, but when me sharing this is just like a subsection of what I create. My main content is just trying to uplift people. Trying to show them how to overcome their circumstances, be strong and resilient in your own mindset, not be a carbon copy of someone else. And then so I share a lot of my spiritual journey, so people can maybe see the signs and the fact that there's far more to life than maybe most people realize. Which is what I've done through my channel as well. That's my main content. This is just a subsection of my content. So my channel has been growing. It's sort of plateaus at the moment. I've got 385 subscribers on YouTube. But I take my channel very serious. I've sectioned it. I try to make it as professional as I can. But bear in mind, though, that isn't that a crazy amount of followers, subscribers. But then you go over to my other channel, which is more about what I'm talking about right now. and we've got 6 subscribers, but that's good because it only had 3 recently, so we've jumped. And I'm talking randomly here about physical stuff, physical collection, but also a lot of gaming, and really just movies for the most part. But that'll continue to grow and expand. I've got videos to put on here. And this is a bit like where people are doing their thrifting, if you like. If I put delivery, so I'm just showing people some of the deliveries that come through. But it won't ever be continuous, like every day, another whole set, or every week. It's a period, and then it'll plateau while I'm working on my books. I'm doing other things, getting on with life. But I think some people dedicate themselves to creating content just for the attention and views. And it's like something come up recently. I can't remember what their name is now. J2 I think it was. Yeah, J2 I like his content. And he had Gaming Nexus on there. And this was good. And they made a point within the video, which I freaking... I like these 2 creators, by the way. They're very professional. High quality. Well, we're going to get adverts, unfortunately. Well, I don't know why we're not getting sound, though. Well, that's good anyway. Skip that crap.
Might be an unsung hero.
See, I like them. They're professional. It's a great channel. It might not look at it so much here, but if anyone's aware of their content, you know how good they are. But they made a point, very, very small point that most people might not have picked up on it. And they were saying, like, if you're not truly passionate about something, it'll feel like a hard work. And that's how I feel. It's like if you're not truly passionate about it, eventually you'll feel exhausted from it because it's not what you should be doing. So like for me, my books and things are where my passions are. These are just side projects. These are things I enjoy. So it's not hard work for me. But my path will take me towards doing more with my life than just sharing a film that I decided to buy. This is me just trying to help people see a side to life, because they're going to get caught up, like I said, in this streaming situation where they're hemorrhaging money every month, and because if they don't, they can have nothing. But it's risky because if your internet goes down for any reason, all your services just cause havoc. If you miss a payment, everything goes. If you're struggling for 1 month, all of a sudden you've got no music, you've got no movies, you've got nothing to watch, nothing to listen to. And I think that's a dangerous path to be going down, to be totally honest. But that's to each their own. That's my personal feeling. And I enjoy the cases, I just enjoy this. I think I look cool. I think it's nice. I think when you've got your collection, you're looking physical, it's nice. And I think that's what people are attracted to a lot with the vinyl, because the vinyl is so big. It's almost like having a poster on your wall, isn't it? And I think that's great too. But it comes at a premium price. But again, we all have our own content we enjoy. Like, I enjoy watching these. I enjoy watching people that are natural, that do it because they want it, because they have a passion for it, not because they're doing it for the likes and views. So like Jay, I think he's great with his... I mean, I don't need the content because I can build my own computers and things, but I just like to watch other people sharing their expertise in a similar field that they enjoy, So he's great at shining a light on certain parts of the computer hardware, whether you need water cooling, whether it's a waste of time now, or, it's just all little things really, and it's informative. Whereas Gaming Nexus focus more on some of the latest news within the communities, whether there's something going on that's bad. Just shine a light on things really, and sometimes they do benchmarks and things like that. But I find between the two they're great. I don't know if their presence is going to come across here because the way the camera's set up, and again, lighting and everything is important. But
more so than I even realized until today. So Steve just spent the entire day here with us, helping us kind of redo some of our lab practices here. We're going to get into that today, but I got some questions I want to ask him.
What I love about that is when people collaborate, you've got 2 channels together.
For those looking for a high-end custom
error or human error, and let's work to build a system.
Going to help for all of us, and I mean, I know
there's no question about did anything get missed.
What you want to show here is this is them just being naturally talking on camera. They're just talking. The camera's there. They're just talking amongst each other. That's great, isn't it? But if we was to go on Jay's channel first and see what his usual content is, if we can find anything. Let's do this. I'm going to get adverts. Nightmare.
What's up, guys? JST. Right? And that would be into a newer graphics card that will exceed the minimum specs and more often than not exceed the recommended specs. at a price to performance. I mean, the card can be had in the 500s. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's a 7900, 16 gigabytes.
What I would say is always trust him. That's important, isn't it? I think trusting a brand, trusting someone is great at bringing on, talking about the latest hardware, which is useful to know. If we was to go on Gaming Nexus, I don't know if I can get there. So that was his channel, and then we go on Gaming Nexus and we see what their channel looks like. Now, bear in mind, they visited him for that other video. Okay, so he's talking about a scam. Let's go on that one, actually.
Today we're investigating NZXT's shady and manipulative.
Let's see what he's like when he's talking behind these
People's houses, potentially. Look at the downfall of Corsair's quality and be concerned. As an investor, you'd look at $500 million.
Let's do it here because I just want to get him. Make sure
we just think this is a scam at this point. The performance claims alone are hugely misleading, especially since the only difference in one of these that's meaningful is the word super, which a lot of people, especially those who are potentially renting or buying a pre-built, won't catch that difference.
So very professional. Anyway, just want to show the difference really. I mean, I could probably find some examples perhaps of people that are doing it for other reasons. They're doing it because they have a passion for it and they're trying to educate people. And I think that's important. And that's why people gravitate towards these channels. So for instance, Gaming Nexus has 2.3 million subscribers and J2 has 4 million. He's actually got more. Okay. Because they're trusted channels, you know. And they have influence for good and bad, but I think they do it for the right reasons. The other one you could do, Linus, has been put. Look, Linus is very popular, but he's been called out a few times for some of the shady stuff, and he's got 16 million subscribers. He's good, but in all honesty, as I prefer the other two. And that's my preference. But yeah, I just think people should focus on what they truly enjoy. Don't do it just for the likes and attention, because then you start to elevate your content anyway. So even if you're doing it, even if you truly enjoy it, it's like look at ways to elevate it too. You know, I just walking in with this bag of shopping all the time. It's always got the label, the logo of the bag. You know, say oh look, because they forget. Oh, people are like, oh, you've been CEX. Anyone goes CEX? Like you can just go down the shop and freaking walk in. You go and buy your own bloody bag of films. You know. But anyway,